Two, and one. And we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Global Citizens. My
Hello.
name is Kelvin. I am the show's host, and I'm also, of course, its creator. So, my guest today is okay, this is a very interesting background for me. The reason being is that, in case you don't know, her name is Cindi Wirawan. And if you know, my full name is Vijaya. So, we are actually both are born and we actually have an original citizenship of Indonesian. However, both of us grew up overseas, and well, this is actually the first time whereby I can safely say that I have my former, or in fact, somebody who has the exact same situation to start with me. So Cindi is a millennial expert. She helps millennial in their resilience and strategic. She is a career coach, and at the same time, she is also a corporate trainer. So without further ado, I will now hand over the platform to Cindi to introduce herself a little bit more. So hope I do enough justice, Cindi, or I'm missing out some part.
No, it's great. I love that we have like the beginning part of our surname is the same. So yeah, I think we
Yeah,
might be like somewhat related. Yeah. So hi everyone. My name is
maybe.
Cindi Wirawan, and I am a millennial career coach. So I coach millennial professionals across Asia Pacific on how to win the career game. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sin, the first question is compulsory to everyone with our typical
Okay.
background, as we call ourselves the third culture kids. Yeah. How do you define the term home? Does it more towards your loved ones or your physical or the physical place itself?
I love this question.
Yeah.
Hmm. I would say
Really. Every
definitely.
single one of my guests got angry every time I asked that.
Well, I don't get angry easily, so you're fine. You can ask me
Oh,
other stuff too. So I would say it's both. I can't say one or the other, and the reason is because I have homes in many different countries. So I have homes in, as in like they don't belong to me lah. But they belong to my family members. So I have family in Australia, I have family in Indonesia, in United States, as well as in Singapore. So of course they welcome me whenever I go there. I don't need to like go to a hotel or anything. So I guess it's both, it's a physical place and it's also who those people are.
yep. Okay. What do you feel has been the anchor for you so far? Because the thing is that a lot of times when okay, this is actually in a if you explain it, a lot of time when we grow up overseas, we leave a piece of our heart, a piece of ourselves in that country. So as a
Mm,
result, we always regard it as our home. So, like for example, in this recent corona epidemic, like if let's say
mm,
somebody insulted China and you grow up in China, you feel hurt by that, even though you might not be a citizen of China. So,
mm,
what has been an anchor for you that you know this that no matter where you are go, you are always Cindi Wirawan.
mm. Another good question. Um, I would say the anchor is myself. Like it's not a thing, it's not a place, it's not a person. It's just me being me and just knowing that I can be myself wherever I go. So because of my background, like I started traveling since I was 21 years old. So I'm like super adaptable. Like I've moved to different cities and I've adapted really quickly in those cities. Whereas like my counterparts, say I've got friends that's moved from Singapore to Sydney, they would take a longer time to adapt. And even me moving back from Australia to Singapore, like I just adapted in a few days' time. Whereas my friends who moved back after studying in Australia, they took months and months to adapt back. So I would say I'm the anchor.
All right. Sometimes months, sometimes even can be years, actually.
Yes, I agree. Still stuck there for
And,
years.
all right. Okay. So we will now dive into your career. Yeah. So what initially draws you to become a career as a career coach and as a millennial expert?
Okay. I started off my career in recruitment and I did all sorts of recruitment. I was recruiting in house and then I moved to external and I was recruiting recruiters.
Wow.
And then when I moved to Australia, I was still doing that because that's in demand. But I always knew that I wanted to be a career coach. So one day I met my friend Eleanor, and the funny story is when I applied for a job in Singapore, right, for my first recruitment job, she was the one who interviewed me and she rejected me. So she was,
Ouch!
she
Ouch!
was like, no, I like you, but
Ah,
no, we don't have the job for you. But I stayed in touch with her. So I didn't burn that bridge. I stayed in touch. When I moved to Australia, I know that she was also living there. So I met her for coffee and we just chatted. And then I asked her, like, how can I be a career coach? And she was like, oh, it's very hard. It's not easy to be a career coach in Australia. But then a few weeks or a few 1 or 2 months after that, she actually called me up and she said, hey, you know, I have this client. They're looking for somebody to design a career development boot camp for Chinese graduates. So because I could speak Chinese and because I could relate, so I said, yeah, let's do it. And then so we did it. It was really successful. We started our own training company. And since then, I've been career coaching.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing is that now with regards to how we are feeling at the moment, because
Mm,
one of the main issue is we are stuck. We can't really move around because, well, it's the COVID quarantine,
mm,
and well, a lot of people lost their jobs, etc. And of course, at the same time, however, I think the best way for us to move forward is actually see the upsides, because one thing that I will anticipate of rising is entrepreneurship, because, well,
mm,
nowadays people finally realize that, hey, I can spend more time at home. I can spend time at home. I can take care of my kids. I can
mm,
spend time with my family. So people will see the upsides of this, and this may result in increase in entrepreneurship. And also,
mm.
well, there's also definitely a pending recession that is coming, right?
Yes.
So for those who want to start a company of their own, right? What do you think should be the basis to create a working environment that fits a global mindset? The reason being is that, well,
Mm,
everybody who grow up in multiple parts of the world have a different way of thinking. They have a different belief. They have different way that you can interact with them. Like, for example, if you speak to a Germany, you need to be
mm.
straightforward with them. But the thing
Yeah.
is that if you speak to an Indian, you cannot be straightforward with them, is because they may take it as an offense.
Mm, mm,
So yeah, can I get your point of view on this?
mm. Yep. So I agree that entrepreneurship is definitely going to be on the rise, especially during and after this COVID. You know, a lot of people are going to find it so difficult to find jobs that they have no choice but to start their own businesses. And that's also how we can get the economy back up. That's when we've got businesses that are starting. So your question is, what what is the basis of such entrepreneurship
Correct.
um, with a global mindset, right?
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
Um, I think that it first starts with the mindset that um, as an entrepreneur, you are not just competing in your home country; you're competing with the whole world.
Yep.
So you know, in the past, right? If you start your own business, you probably are only serving, like, say, your neighborhood or a city. But then, like, COVID has shown us that now you can actually do business with anybody in the world. Like, I don't just need to offer my services to people that are in Singapore. I've got clients in Indonesia, where you are, all because
Yeah.
I've got this amazing thing called technology and PayPal that allows me to work anywhere and get paid anywhere. So I think that the to be successful as an entrepreneur, you do need that global mindset, and you need to make sure that whatever you're doing is going to be able to survive and thrive in the new age, and that involves being digital. So the ability to work from home, to work remotely, to be flexible, adaptable, and to be able to cater to different needs overseas. So that's why it's even more important right now to upskill yourself in intercultural skills, intercultural communication, because you need that in order to survive. Like, you're not just serving people like you're serving people that are from all over the world.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a really good point. So first off, with regards to the point, to build off on the point you say, take that, it's because my father is somebody who will never understood the importance of technology in today's world. He still confused
Yeah.
download with Wi-Fi, and you know how much of a headache you are to explain it to him. Okay. Oh, okay. Is he watching this? Okay,
That's
never
why
mind.
that's why you're there, right? That's why you're there to help his business.
Yeah, in a sense it is, but I will get to that a little bit later because I think
So
we're gonna.
you need to have a millennial son, or you need to hire millennials to do it for you.
Indeed.
It's not the end of the world if you are like not good at technology.
Yeah, but the thing is that, well, I guess we can get to that in a bit later. But the thing is because a lot of times it's because when somebody who has done something for like over 20 years or 30 years of their life in a certain way, they definitely don't want to adapt to something new. They expect you to do it. But the thing is that they have such a high expectation without knowing what is the limit of something, that you got really annoyed dealing with them sometimes. So yeah, that is actually, in fact, just to let you guys know who's watching this, this is one of the reasons why I created the show.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, I feel your annoyance.
Yeah. Oh, thank God. Okay. All right. All right, Cindy. So now I actually want to jump into millennials. Yeah. So I've actually had another millennial expert before on my show. His name is Vivek Yani. Vivek is actually another one of the person who inspired my show's creation.
Oh.
We actually consulted on the day of my 26th birthday. Yes, if you guys want to ask how old am I, it's up to you. Just put it in the comment box. The thing is that at that time we have a good chat, but I need to cut the conversation short because at that time I'm a first time uncle and I was babysitting my nephew who's about to fall off the sofa. So at that time I need to cut off
you rescued your nephew.
Yeah, but that was fine. I mean, we still keep in touch. He was on my show at one point, so that is something that I really was looking forward to at that time, and I still keep in contact with him. Okay, so a lot of complaints of millennials is they are lazy, they are entitled, and they have no sense of loyalty. Do you feel that millennials are actually vastly underrated? And the thing is there's quite a lot of common complaints when you meet somebody who's way older than you, then they will tell you is you are too young, you don't know anything yet. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cindy?
Yeah, okay. I think that to say that, like, millennials are lazy, or that they're entitled, or what was the other word? Lazy, entitled, and
No loyalty. No loyalty.
no loyalty. Okay, I mean, I have to say that some of them are valid, but then you can't just put like a blanket statement across all millennials, because I know a lot of millennials that are super hardworking, that are super loyal, and that work really hard for what they want. And at the same time, of course, there's always the ones that are, not as hardworking, or entitled, or who are not loyal, like they job hop all the time. So I guess that just means that times are changing, and I think that other generations can also behave in those ways, not just millennials. So it really depends on the situation. As for us being underrated, again, I think that age is something that really depends on that person's mindset. Like, some people, they might have the mindset that just because somebody is young or doesn't have experience, they are not as good or capable as somebody with more experience. But then you also have other people with the mindset that, hey, this person is young, they've got energy, they're good with technology, they are creative, and they've got a lot of things that I can learn from. So even though most of my clients are 80% are millennials, 20% are actually not millennials, and they always appreciate me as well, because they say that you offer a lot of perspectives that I don't see, and that's really valuable to me. So I think that all generations have got something to offer to each other and to value each other, and it really is also up to you to sort of like prove yourself that you that you're capable and that you deserve a voice on the table. And some of my millennial clients, they have high ranking positions, like they are board members or they are pretty senior leaders in the company. So I mean, like, it really is dependent on the person who is sort of like judging you, and also on you yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
Hope that answers your question.
Yep. Okay. I actually will build off two questions from your point. So first off is this. Nowadays, with how social media is influencing the way our world works, right? So there need to be a lot of transparency and visibility. So it's like people, like let's say your potential customer, want to feel that they are part of the process when they are creating that final product with you. So you need to be open. You need to willingly share who you are. You need to be, well, you need to go beyond your comfort zone to tell who you are, right? So what could a millennial do now to actually stand out? Because the thing is like what you say, if the person is somebody who likes to job hop, for example, yeah, maybe they're maybe working as maybe being employed is not within their mindset, so it's better that they actually become an entrepreneur. So what can they do now to actually stand out, especially in online or even in one-to-one interaction?
Okay. Before I answer that, what can you do to stand out? Let me like
Yep.
answer the job hopping bit. So back when a few years ago when I was in recruitment, right, when you are job hopping, it's actually frowned upon. Like they don't
Yep.
want people that job hop. But in the recent 1 to 2 years, especially now, I think that has changed. A lot of recruiters and employers, they value you for your skills. So even if you do like job hop or you hold different positions,
Yep.
it's actually not, it's no longer as bad as before. In fact, it can actually be good, because if you're a specialist in something, and because of say COVID, that
Yep.
industry actually has died, and you actually would have a better chance of surviving in your career when you have multiple skill sets. Yeah.
So take note, guys. Develop your skill set.
Yes. And it's okay to job hop, but don't mention my name to your employer. Okay. So
you are online. There's several people watching.
well, you know what? I'm a career
Sorry.
coach. I can help you to job hop, and I'll make sure that you answer the question the right way.
Okay.
Okay, so going back to your how do you stand out online? That is such an important thing that everyone needs to do. In today's day and age, right? If you don't have a digital footprint, basically you don't exist.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
So and the thing is, most recruiters are millennials, which means that if you don't have a digital footprint, like recruiters will be hunting for you online, because we do background checks, right? The easiest way to do background checks is use social media. If you don't exist, we'll feel like, oh, there's something fishy going on with this person. Not sure if we can trust them. So social media is really important, especially for professionals. LinkedIn is really important, and LinkedIn is the number one way that you can stand out if you want to look for a job in the corporate space. Of course, if you want to be like a YouTuber, that kind, then you focus on YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing is, in LinkedIn, I guess I actually met somebody who, at that time when I met him, he was 17 years old. He was my intern at that time when I was still working in Singapore. The thing with him is that when I was looking at his photo, even though I'm not a recruiter, I can 100% assure you that I will not hire him. His hair was doing the Dragon Ball style, and then he was doing the punk position, and then every single job is like within a month, and it's not a
Wow.
specialty. It's like
Yeah.
a random assortment of skills that people might not consider is considered highly valuable. So, do you have any advice on that? On even if you are a student, especially, do you have any advice on that on how to present themselves better on LinkedIn?
Yep. Okay, I have tons. Let's see, where should I start? Okay, so for young people, right, the earlier you start, the better. So even in university, if you can already have a LinkedIn profile, then that would be best. I think right now most university students are on LinkedIn, especially the ones from business schools. So start as soon as you can. Start growing your network. Network with your peers, with your professors, with your friends, and with people that you want to uh, with people that are working in the companies you want to work in. So let's say if you want to work in Google, then you need to start networking on LinkedIn with those people. And of course, you need to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is makes a good first impression, because that is the first impression that anyone has of you. If you have like a Dragon Ball hairstyle on a LinkedIn as your profile photo, then nobody's going to accept your connection request.
If you are Singaporean, the word is CMI. Cannot make it. Okay,
Yeah,
it's
cannot
not.
make it.
You are not gonna get anything. I can assure you that, because at that time I was lucky enough that the boy was already employed by my company and he was under me. So I look at it. Oh my goodness.
How did
Yep.
he even get a job in your company? He must know somebody in there.
We'll get to that some other time.
Okay.
Maybe it was luck. Maybe it was really luck, and he was just an intern, I guess. So I think there are a lot more lacks on that. I hope they are. All right, Cindy. Okay, so we already covered on that, yeah. So now I actually want to cover on employers themselves. So a lot of times, especially for not only millennials, I guess, for you and me, we grow up overseas. One of the things that we cannot accept is the lack of innovation. Like, we can't really accept if a company want to maintain a status quo, even if it's, let's say the nicest word is pathetic. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's use that, shall we? Because the thing is that a lot of times system is created is because, well, it worked in the past, but the thing is that moving forward it may not work. Like, for example, the current COVID situation. So, but the thing is that because when people who are in charge are so used to doing it a certain way, they don't want to change the way they work. Do you feel that a lot of miscommunication or happen between cultures and generation happen, and why do you think there's so much of it still going on?
Okay. Do I feel that there's a lot of miscommunication between generations and cultures? I
Correct.
think the first one, between generations, there's definitely going to be miscommunication, because sometimes we do have different values. Like what's
Yep.
important for us may not be important for them, and vice versa. And different cultures as well. You know, some cultures are more innovative than others. So to go back to your first point, where for us, we embrace innovation,
Yep.
whereas
Correct.
some generations might be more resistant to that. Yeah, so definitely I agree that that is because of generational and cultural differences. At the same time, it is also that person's upbringing and that person's exposure. So both of us, we are open to innovation because we have been exposed to
Yep.
other cultures, to new countries. We've traveled. We don't live in a box. Like that's the thing, like I really enjoyed traveling, because I felt that when I was living in Singapore, I was living in a matchbox. And
Yes.
then
Correct.
the moment I started to travel and to have friends that are from overseas, from different countries, my mind just opened up. And I realized that there is more than one way of doing something. Like my way is not the right way. There's so many ways, and you can still achieve the same thing. So that's why I'm a lot. more open. I'm very experimental. I like exploring. I like experimenting, and I like exposing myself to new things. Um, but people that have not gotten that exposure, maybe they've stayed in a country for their whole life. They don't have friends that are outside their own nationality or ethnic group. Then they would find it more challenging.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would do you think would be the good solution though for the above question that I gave you, like on miscommunication that's happening between
Mm,
cultures and generations? I know this is actually in your area because you do. In your in your webinar, in your previous webinar, I actually attended it.
mm,
You mentioned that you've hired people from China before, and there was a lot of communication error between them. It's because,
mm.
well, as brilliant as they can be, they have stuck to a certain way of doing things, and well,
Yeah.
it's not easy to tell them to change because it's like telling you you have to change who you are just for a job.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah. Okay. So when I was in Australia, right, most of my clients were Chinese who were really smart people. They were from the top universities in Australia, but they really struggled in getting a job or even to survive in a job after after that. Because some of them would get jobs and then they would like get sacked or they would not be able to cope after some time. And it's because they stayed within their own boundaries. So most of the
Yep.
time, they were still having Chinese roommates. They were still hanging out at the Sydney's version of Chinatown. They were still eating Chinese food, still speaking Chinese, still using all the Chinese social media, and not doing all the things that the Australians were doing. They were not on Facebook, not on Instagram, not on LinkedIn. They were not doing sporty, outdoorsy stuff. They were not um, hanging out with non-Chinese people, and they were afraid to speak English with other non-Chinese. So because
Yep.
of that, although they were like really smart, they're like, straight A students, they really struggled because they stayed with the old. Like they not just stayed with the old, they stayed with what they were comfortable with instead of
Yep.
out. So my advice is I've actually got 3 E's. My 3 E's, the first one is to explore. So like
Yep.
be open to exploring new things. The second one is to expose. Expose yourself to other cultures, meet friends from other cultures, expose yourself to books or to podcasts or to webcasts such as yours, where you can, yes.
What's
So
my
whoever
show?
is listening in, you guys are doing yourself a favor. You're exposing yourself. So keep doing that. And then the third one is to experiment. It goes back
Yep.
to innovation, right? Just try new
Yeah.
things because that is how you grow. And in our new economy, it's going to be more about innovation, about experimenting rather than what is tried and tested, rather than what what worked in the past. Because what worked
Yep.
in the past is not going to work in the future. Even in my career coaching practice, what worked in the past for people to find jobs are not going to work after COVID-19. So you just have to face it, or you can just stay a dinosaur. It's up to you.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, guys, please take note to innovate, to improve yourself, and well, open up yourself to new experience because, as what Cindy say, it is something that is definitely required in the world that is becoming now more global. Because one of the trend that I now see is a lot of them is remote hiring because
Mm.
I believe it now is what HP is doing it. I think if I'm not mistaken, is that they are willing to hire somebody and well they don't have to be nearby the headquarter. You don't have to attend
Mm.
the headquarter. It's because well you as long as you deliver us what we ask you to do, you're fine with it.
Yep,
Okay,
definitely.
okay, I actually have two final questions for you. So
Mhm.
one of them is pertaining to micromanagement. So as we've been discussing throughout this whole session, yeah, a lot of times is because I guess in the past, micromanagement is the main basis of a system. It's because an employer being there to watch, to surveillance everybody to make sure that they work is used to be something that can just be executed. But over the time now, we notice is that well, people are working from home, so we may not know what the future will bring. And the thing is that a lot of complaints on micromanagement is that it doesn't work in today's society. I actually half disagree with that. The reason being is that I do feel that micromanagement still works, but in kind of jobs that is more life-threatening situation, something like maybe a paramedic or a chef. So the reason being is that if without any proper micromanagement, or at least without a proper stern supervision, it might result in death. But the thing is because that kind of jobs has some kind of shift work, it allows the superior and subordinate to bond. But the thing is that if it's like in an office work, it doesn't really work because the thing is that it just make it hard for people to work. So do you agree with this? And what's your opinion on micromanagement?
Mm. Yeah, I definitely agree with your why micromanagement would work in your instances. On top of that, micromanagement is still needed for different situations. For
Yep.
example, when somebody is new to the company or when somebody has just stepped into a new position, like a fresh graduate or an entry level position, you do need a level of micromanagement so that you need to make sure that they're always on the right track and it actually feels safer for them to be micromanaged in the first few weeks or so. But the moment they already know how to do the job and they're able to do it without supervision, then that's where you can, start letting go of the reins more. So that's the first group of people. Another group of people that would still prefer micromanagement could be people that subscribe more to the traditional view of management. Like they believe that the boss is always right. I need to do everything the way that the boss wants me to do. So I think micromanagement is still needed and is still useful for those kind of situations. But in general, going into how we're going to work in future, I think that leaders have to learn how to trust their people and they have no choice but to let go of micromanagement because if you're doing remote work, there is no way that you can micromanage somebody unless you keep bugging them to put in their numbers on some software or if you install surveillance camera in their homes. Yeah.
God, is that done before?
You never know. Some people are working with the cameras on now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Ah,
Yeah.
that is scary. That is
Mhm.
scary. Yeah, I think we can summarize with that is that micromanagement is part of a process, but it shouldn't be the entire system itself of how one operate. Is it okay if I summarize it that way?
Mm. Yep. Especially millennials don't like being micromanaged.
Yeah, personally attest to that. In fact, there's one person here who actually live a life that can agree with that. He's actually my former colleague. I will give him a shout out later. Okay. My last question is this. So, what books or advice would you give to these three type of people? So, firstly is refusing to move on and
Mhm.
continue to stick to an older mindset, even though it doesn't work at all.
Mhm.
A millennial. So, a millennial.
Mhm.
And the last one is an aspiring global citizens like yourself.
Okay. All these three groups. Okay, I have one book that would be relevant to all these three groups, and
Yep.
that is a book called "Start Up of You" by Ray. Hoffman, and Reid is one of the co-founders of LinkedIn. So Startup of
Wow.
You is about how everyone is a business of one. So I also teach this to my clients. I tell them that you need to let go of your employee mindset. You are actually a solopreneur. You are an entrepreneur. Even though you're not selling anything, you don't have your own business, but you're always selling yourself. So reading, if they read that book, Startup of You, that would help them to change their mindset. And entrepreneurs, they're always trying new things. They're all
Yep.
about solving problems. They're not afraid to take risks. So for that, older generation, that would help them to let go of the old mindset and to move on and to embrace change. Then, likewise, for millennials, it's about also being an being and having that entrepreneurial mindset. What I was looking at your list of questions. Were you asking me about millennials who are suffering a quarter life crisis, or?
You can use that. Yeah. The thing is you can use that. I guess it was something that I experienced a while back,
Mm,
but yeah, it's because I think like from throughout the whole time that we have been discussed in this episode, it's because well we might not have the mindset to just stick to one area like what you just mentioned on the need to be a specialist now is
mm,
because well the thing is that we don't want to just stick to one area because
mm.
we want to be able to innovate, we want to be able to grow, or some people look to for personal development, or they just want to be appreciated as part of a company, so they may not find it in one place immediately, so as a result, well, the job hopping started.
Yeah, okay, good one. Actually, having a quarter life crisis doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It can actually be a good time for you to reflect on what you really want and to reset so that you're setting yourself up for what you really want for the rest of your life.
Yep.
So it's not bad to have a quarter life crisis. And what else? I think that the third group, which is aspiring global mindset,
Yep.
I think that it should be everybody. Like,
Yep.
you shouldn't have to aspire to have a global mindset. You all of us are already in a globalized world. Like,
Yep.
you have no choice. So right now, right, the world is literally flat. Like, in the past we can say like, yeah, globalized world. But right now the world is flat. You can work anywhere. You can meet someone from anywhere in the world, and you're competing with people all over the world. So unless you adopt a global mindset, then you are setting yourself up for failure.
Yep. Okay, that's actually the last question for me. So, for those of you who just tuned into the show for the very first time, yeah. So, Global Citizens is a webcast whereby I invited a group called the Third Culture Kids, like myself and Cindy, who grow up outside of our passport home, digital nomads, expatriates, and at times I do have international speakers who spend considerable amount of time abroad. The reason being why I invited such individuals is because I want to show to people that when you grow to other countries, yes, you're exposed to new culture. But the thing is after a certain period of time, you come back to your home. You are back to the way you used to live. It's the same kind of food, the same kind of people, the same kind of, well, modus operandi, how you work. But when you move to a new country, you have to adapt to a new mindset. You have to understand a new kind of thinking, which is what Cindy has been mentioning on global mindset. So that's actually my last question. Cindy, do you have anything you want to tell to the audience?
Yeah. So Kelvin met me through one of my lunch and learn webinars, and that's something that I organize on an ongoing basis to help people that are looking to level up their career game. So tomorrow I've got one that is called Hiring Secrets. So that's where I'll be
Wow.
revealing secrets that only recruiters would know, such as why you get ghosted after you send in an application, and the kind of things that you should never, 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 ever tell a recruiter, because that would cost you
Yeah.
your job. And then the second
Don't
thing,
tell them you don't know anything completely and you are not interested. Trust me, I've done that stupid mistake when I was younger.
okay, yeah, that one
I
is
was a
quite.
lot younger at that time. I was a lot younger at that time, so I was just thought that I have to be honest, but no, don't tell them that. I was a lot younger at that time. So yeah, sorry, Cindy. Yeah,
That is a
back to
great
you.
fit, Calvin. Okay. And then the second one is I'm actually partnering with three other career coaches, and we call ourselves the Career Avengers. So if you want to find out more about like this exciting collaboration that we've got, you can just follow me on LinkedIn or my Instagram. I would love to have you at any of my webinars or future programs.
All right. Cindy's LinkedIn and her Instagram is already attached in the description box. I've also attached several referral links for Airbnb, where you can earn yourself a travel credit. So after this COVID ends, if you want to go, please just click the link, and then you can gather yourself some credits. Along with that, I need to give some shout out as I was given some likes by some people. So first up is Mr. Gerald Lai. Sophia, I'm sorry if I butcher this pronunciation. F. Kotarski. Hopefully, I didn't butcher your name. I'm so sorry about that. And of course, my former colleague, Mr. Puji Prasatyo, who, by the way, is also an Indonesian. Yeah. Okay, so that's the end of Global Citizens episode 49. So we have two episodes every week. Of course, I've never given a fixed timing. I will announce it on my Instagram and my Facebook. So we will have episode 50 this Saturday, and do look forward to the announcement or who the guest is. Cindy, I already know who it is, so I'm not gonna say. All right, Cindy, is there anything else you wanna tell?
No, thank you for having me.
Yep. Yeah, you're most welcome. All right. And with that, that's the end of Global Citizens, episode 49. Do stay safe, guys. Take care of yourself. And do contact Cindy if you are curious on how to proceed forward after this COVID. But please notify her where you heard it. Maybe it's from my show or even if it's from any other resources, because at the end of the day, this is her personal privacy. Okay. And with that, that's the end of the show. See you guys.
Bye.